And this is going to be Mike Falcione.
Hello, and thank you for having me, Mark, the Merrymount Association. Just coming from work, if you hadn't noticed, fighting the traffic from Chicopee, just made it here. So, let me first start off by a little background of me. Quincy High graduate, 2004, was teammates and classmates with Dan Davis. There he is. Also attended Quincy College and just graduated last May, where Dave was actually on the Board of Governors and shake the hands with him and received my degree. Let me first off apologize. I'm not from Howes Neck. I'm not from Merrymount. I'm actually from Quincy Point, the very end of our ward. And I say that jokingly because I'm not really sorry that I'm from Quincy Point. I'm very proud Quincy Pointer. And I learned when I was in Quincy High, about my first month in, I sat at the lunch table and looked around, and about a month in I could identify where the kids were from as part of the city. I always thought that was special, you know. Those kids are from Germantown, those are Howes Neck kids, those are the Pointers and everything else. And they wore like a sleeve, a badge on their sleeve, which I think should be preserved, protected. And one of the charms that I love about this city, which will bring me into where we all have been, as far as the other candidates, the aggressive development of the city. I hope not to lose face with the neighborhood, charm that we present, I don't want to see us turn into another South Boston, another Cambridge, another Dorchester, where, overdevelopment has kind of pushed out the long-term residents, the legacies that have been there for so long. And then you get a new wave, and new is not always good, so. After I graduated in 2004, I joined the Carpenters Union and immediately entered the apprenticeship. It was a 4-year apprenticeship with Carpenters Local 33, which 4 years later put us into a tailspin of the recession, where there was no work to be found. Big companies like Admiral Drywall and Peyton General Construction, huge companies, just closed their doors for good, and a lot of people were laid off. So I took a chance and I joined the United States Air Force. In the following year, 2009, I was stationed in Barksdale Air Force Base, Shreveport, Louisiana, for the following 4 years, and then returned home in 2013 and saw a world of change. And where we are in a transformation mode right now. I think it's so important. That's exactly why I dove into this. A lot of people, they want to know my background and everything else. I just want to come here, help out, get involved, and I believe I could be a major asset. So. Since coming home, I've dipped into the real estate market. I've purchased 2 multi-family houses in another city, and during my campaigning, which hasn't all been uneventful, I got into a discussion with a woman from Adams Shore, and I said, would you mind telling me how much you're paying on taxes for a single family home, just like every other in Adams Shore? And she said a figure that I don't pay on both my houses combined. So I think we could do better there, and we have more of a population base and more of a business base than in that other city. So I have because it's only distracting. So I've been in the city for 17 years. I moved over from Weymouth. I told you the lunchroom story and everything. So in Weymouth, you couldn't tell who was from Weymouth Landing, who was from South Weymouth, who was from North Weymouth, but you could definitely tell a Howes Necker. You could definitely tell a Germantown person. I think you could spot out a Quincy Pointer or two. So getting back to the charms of the city and the neighborhoods and the pride. We're the only city, I think, that comes to mind that we play each other in football. You know, other towns play other towns. We got the Mannets, the Panthers, the Squantum Storm. You know, it's fantastic. The neighborhood pride that we have, with big turnouts and everything else. I want to keep that going. As far as Ward 1 is concerned, I live in an area that's all multi-families, so I understand where you're coming from as far as shooting it down here because it doesn't belong here. I believe that it's all single-family, beautiful area, beachside property that one could hope to live in, raise a family, and retire to one day and stay if they choose to, fixed income or not. I'm a third-generation Quincyite, whatever we're called. My grandmother, my mother, and now I, under the same roof, you know, and I love it here. So, as far as my policies go, safety and security is number one. I believe in giving the fire and the police department exactly what they need to operate. This is a very safe city to raise your kids in and, you know, bring up a family. And I want to keep that. You know, we're 93,500 strong, you know, and this is, I rave about this city. When I was down in Louisiana, people would ask where I'm from because they heard the accent. I used to say Quincy, Massachusetts, and they say, where? I said, Boston. So, yeah. But I think that's all I can introduce about me. Mark, if you would like to ping me with some questions. Oh, before I get to you, I'd like to tell you a story. You know, this is all worthwhile for me. Campaigning, and you can ask my partner in crime, walking around handing out pamphlets. I've already been attacked and mauled by a dog. I've been in a few lively discussions with some people and had a stare down with a turkey. So I'll take on all comers, you know. You guys are worth it to me. So, Mark.
Mike, thank you. How about the pig in Adam Shore and the pig in Hal's Neck? Have you seen those?
I used to know a family that lived over there, owned a pig and everything, let it loose in the school.
Yeah, you see a little bit of everything when you're out campaigning.
Yeah,
but thank you, Mike. Can you just give us a little more on what record of community involvement do you have here in Quincy?
Right off the bat, not enough. Not enough. I'm constantly introducing myself because I haven't been involved. The only times I was really involved was at Father Bill's in 2001 and 2002, where I worked with St. Joseph's Church, and we did the lunch program there.
According to Patriot Ledger article, you're quoted as saying that you're concerned about the city's infrastructure. So could you give us a little more of your concerns and your plans and ideas on fixing what you see as problems?
Absolutely. So, first things first, I mean, our roads are less than the best. I think everybody can agree to that. And I was considering an idea where we could alleviate some of our traffic by erecting footbridges abutting our T stations, which would eliminate some of our street lights. It takes way too long, close to an hour to get from the north end of the city to Quincy Center. And I proposed these footbridges be erected crossing Hancock Street primarily. And you can eliminate some traffic lights there, increasing traffic flow. You can move the pedestrians across the street safely, and with a little bit of innovative thinking, we can hang signage from the footbridges, bringing in and outside revenue. Something along the lines of like Discover Quincy, sponsored by DJ Quirk, or something like that, which would, the footbridges I think would pay for themselves and hopefully alleviate the taxpayer in the meantime.
One question we received was, Ward 1 is not known to be the most pedestrian friendly or bike friendly, especially the C Street corridor. Any thoughts and plans to increase safety for pedestrians, bikers at bike lanes, that type of thing?
You know, I'm going to speak honestly, it's out of my realm because I know C Street is a coastal street and everything, and I wouldn't want to compromise anything and have, you know, people drawn into a new flood zone or anything else. We just have to understand that that's a peninsula, and most of the people are making their way either to or from Howes Neck, Germantown, you know, the end of Adams Shore, and everything. It's a one-way in, one-way out, almost like a Hull, Massachusetts. So.
Okay. Thoughts and concerns with the city's approach to dealing with environmental concerns, rising sea levels, coastal erosion? Do you think the city could be doing more? If so, where?
I have to agree with my my opponent, Mr. Dave McCarthy. I think education is going to be a big thing as far as that. Where can we spend the least amount of money protecting our, you know, the most amount of assets is going to be the question. And is it repair? Is it rebuild? It's always going to come down to that. And it's out of my realm, so I, you know, respectively pass on the question.
Okay. We're looking at our current Ward 1 representative. How would your approach to serving as a Ward 1 council member differ, if at all? Can you see any votes that you would have taken differently, any way that you would approach the position differently?
None that come to mind. So Margaret is outstanding. Her constituent services has been, you know, has set the bar even higher. So I can only hope to live up to that expectation. She has made herself available for every committee, every meeting, every personal call. You know, she's gotten back to me more than once during this whole campaign, and we're very, you know, I'm very thankful for having her.
Okay. Heard numerous people ask about what can the city do for the rising property taxes, for the rising rental rates. Some people who've lived here a long time feel like they may be being squeezed out, but at the same time you have to balance that Quincy needs to attract new residents and new businesses. So can you speak on that issue?
Absolutely. So a couple of things. You know, the housing market is a monster in its own, and it's dictated by, you know, other forces. The city council can't help it, you know. So the way we value our property goes to how it's taxed, and currently we're paying the highest in the immediate area, even Boston. So we pay about 14 and change per every thousand on residential, residential tax, where Boston is only 10. And Braintree, I believe, is also. And we also pay the highest commercial tax, somewhere around 28 and change. And now, although the trends are going down, I think we could do much better. And I think if we bring in big business, if we have a stronger outreach program to these Fortune 500 companies to bring them into Quincy, so we all don't have to fight traffic to get into Boston, and keep most, you know, some of our citizens here. We could do the developmental phase, which, you know, I'm speaking on the behalf of labor in the construction services. Also, you know, I would love to have Putnam Investments come back, or Price Waterhouse, or something like that, in mid-rise buildings in Quincy Center, offsetting our taxes, providing career opportunities, not just jobs. I think that could help out. There's a few, also reading up on tax deferral programs that we have in the city, but I would have to crunch the numbers, but if your age is 65 and older, and you've been in the city for X amount of years, and you've lived in that house for X amount of years, you're eligible for these tax deferrals. Unfortunately, you have to be bringing in a very low amount of income in order to qualify for this. So I think that may need to be revamped in order to help out the people that are transitioning from working to retired.
We might be at the last question. I'll check the time here, but where do you think the city can do more in terms of fighting against the opioid epidemic that's impacting our city and our state?
So I hold that dear to me. I lost my closest cousin and best friend on his 25th birthday. And I lost another cousin as well, who was, you know, very close as well. So, you know, I can't really hear that word without getting a little bit angry. And I believe it's all in our awareness. And we may have to get uncomfortable in our school systems and introduce these things to our younger children and get uncomfortable and teach it through professionals. Because once you're on it, it's a whole different monster. And it takes a lifetime to get off of it.
Mike, we're at 15 minutes, so I want to thank you for coming down for your...
I want to thank you for having me. Thank you very much.